Hello and welcome to CMR TV. My name is Tamsin Deasey-Weinstein and I'm going to be bringing you the AI wave. This week I'll be telling you about the latest developments in the world of AI. Whether you're using it in the boardroom or just want to learn about how to use AI at home, there's something for everyone. I'll be interviewing global leaders who are using AI to change the world, but also local people who are using it in their daily lives. Let's dive in together and ride the AI wave. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the AI Wave, Cayman's AI show. We've got a very special guest here today. We have John Biggs. New York-based John, you're in Brooklyn, I believe, is an entrepreneur, consultant, writer, and maker. He spent 15 years as an editor for lots of very well-known tech publications such as TechCrunch and Crunch Gear. And he has a background in hardware startups, 3D printing and blockchain. So quite varied there. His works appeared in lots of titles you'll know, such as Men's Health, Wired, and also the New York Times. So thank you very much for being with us, John. You've also written 9 books, I believe. Is that correct?
I think it's 10 now.
Is it 10? Wow.
Well, actually, I got another book coming out in a month, I guess, I think, and so that'll be 11. And I got another one about psychedelics that I'm writing. So a couple more.
Crazy. Where do you find the time?
I don't know. I just keep writing. People say, like, a friend of mine said it was some kind of problem with my brain chemistry.
And what's your favorite topic to write about? What are the books all about?
A little of everything. Influencer marketing. I wrote a book about watches. I've written a bunch. I've written 2 children's novels. Another couple like short stories. All this other stuff. So basically, I just write about whatever I'm interested in at the time.
I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
Okay, so on to the AI. So you started as a programmer, but you became a tech journalist.
Mhm.
When you look at AI today, what do you see that others may not see?
I mean, look, I see that it's coming for us, right? So I don't know. Yeah. So like, I've been watching AI since probably GTP2. Right now we're at 4, and early on it was kind of silly. It didn't really work very well. It hallucinated a lot. It was very messy. Back in 2023, I believe, I wrote some code that basically took press releases, turned them into news stories, and was able to post them on a WordPress site instantly.
Oh, wow.
So I could basically get up, like, I don't know, 20 posts a day if I wanted, just rewritten. Now, the problem of that was that it was those posts were kind of wonky because there were a few problems associated with hallucinations and
Yeah.
fake data, all this other stuff. So I kind of abandoned that project, and people were scared of it as well. So I showed it to journalists, and they really liked it. Well, they didn't like it, right? Because they knew the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Then
Mixed feelings.
if you take the same thing and you look at coding, right now you could sit down and write something, whatever you wanted, fairly easily. The system would tell you what to install, how to write it, where to put it, all this other stuff, in a way that you couldn't do even 3 years ago. So if I wanted to write a script that could, I don't know, find the biggest files on my hard drive, I would have to go do a search. I'd look for a script that does that, and maybe Google would give me something, maybe give me Google something that failed. But now I basically have a methodology that allows me to sit there and say, click a button, and all of a sudden I've got a script. And if it doesn't work, the system can fix it for me. So that's super scary for people with brains, right? So we're looking at a world where all of this stuff is changing rapidly, and the people who are most affected are people who really shouldn't be affected. I mean, we always thought that the robots were going to fix our logistics problems. They're going to drive our trucks. They were going to run our call centers. They were going to run service centers for like Amazon. But instead, it's these people who should be thinking our way out of big problems are being replaced. Now, the flip side of that is that you have a robot that can do basic stuff, boring stuff. So now we need a brain that can. Now we need now we need brains that can expand and do more interesting things, which is kind of the point here.
What do you think about the people who might be at the level where they can't expand to do those things? And I think that's one of the arguments, isn't it? That some people have a ceiling of their abilities, and what if that's beyond what they're capable of doing?
Well, I mean, look back at the days of the before the uh, before the container ship, right? Before we had these massive container ships that went from port to port, the boats would come in, and this only stopped like 1910, 1920. The boats would come in, massive boats, and all these stevedores and all these dock workers, longshoremen would get on the boat and start dragging stuff off. And that was a very specific skill because
Yeah.
I had to know that this leather was going to go start rotting. So I have to pull this off faster than the bananas. And the bananas might have rats or scorpions in them. So I got to watch out. Very specialized skill. And in the 40s, 50s, they invented the container where they put a lot bunch of stuff into a box, and all that stuff was supposed to go to one place. So the ship would bring in the box, it would come drag it off, put it onto a truck, and the truck would go driving all over the place and drop off the stuff that was in the box. All those stevedores, all those longshoremen were gone
Yeah.
instantly. So that specific skill, that wasn't that wasn't a super intellectual skill, but it was still a skill. It was still a massive skill. Yeah. So they were out of it. Right now, most docks have, I don't know, a couple hundred people maximum. One guy in a crane. You could even put that guy in a building far away from the crane. The crane can be operated automatically, and you can actually probably attach AI to that and have the crane pick stuff up in a in the optimum order, which is really interesting.
Very. What do you think about
So
vibe
yeah,
coding? Because obviously that's one of the big things that's disrupting coders, computer scientists, etc. What's your take on it?
well, it gets rid of bad ideas quickly. So if you have
Interesting.
people who think they can vibe code, that's fine. You can build your product. Like there's so many startups where people have been just had this idea. I don't know, Fitbit for dogs or something like that,
Yeah.
and they don't know how to do it. So they've trying to raise money. They're trying to do all these things. So the barrier to entry to innovation is almost zero at this point.
Yeah.
If you're smart enough to like take the vibe coding, like vibe code work. I mean, everybody says the vibe coding works. I can write my own stuff, but the further you get into the project, the worse it gets. So if you don't know anything about coding, you really can't vibe code. Um, so, like for example, I have a background in PHP, I have a background in Python. So when I vibe code, I say, "Give me the chunk that does this," and it gives me this. It gives me this thing, and I can put it exactly. I know exactly where it should go. I know exactly how the thing is architected. If I don't know anything about architecture, I can't vibe code properly. I'm basically just like getting junk and putting it
Yeah.
into a file and seeing if it works.
You're creating a demo almost, aren't you? This is what you could have won.
But it's not even a demo. It's not even most of the time it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So if I have this idea about, I don't know, want to make a dating app for people in the Caymans, and I don't
We could
know,
do with one of those.
you guys, by all means, yeah. But you can't vibe code that because that requires an understanding of massive databases. It requires an understanding of messaging. It requires an understanding of general architecture. You can vibe code chunks of it. You can vibe code the system that allows you to upload a picture or multiple pictures. But you can't build the entire system.
It's interesting because I was listening to a podcast this morning about Lovable, and they were saying that their next goal is to for people to be able to vibe code full businesses, full products. And like you're saying, that's such a huge leap from being able to produce something that looks like it works but doesn't
Mhm.
actually do anything to producing a full working product that can be sold, distributed, whatever that might be. It's a huge leap.
No, it does that like that. You can't vibe code a whole business. That's kind of ridiculous. You can vibe code your way into a hole, and you can hire a programmer to get you out of it. That's entirely feasible. But like it's like being a writer. You can have the LLM write you lots of posts, but if you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know why you're writing those posts, there's no point.
What made you do the switch to writing?
I always said I wanted to work on 500 projects a year instead of one project for 5 years.
I
Like
like
I said,
that.
I was an IT guy, but I just didn't want to sit there and and plug away at one silly thing for a long time.
I like that. And did you get there? Is that what happened when you were
Yeah, like,
writing?
well, I wrote 11,000 posts for TechCrunch, for example. So I
Oh.
like blasted out so much content that it was almost ridiculous.
What's some of the best innovations you've ever seen?
Mm, I don't know anymore. I mean, AI is a pretty cool innovation. I think the Raspberry Pi when it first came out, with just like a little single board computer, was really fascinating. It lets you do all kinds of things. Anything that lets the average person expand their horizons indefinitely is going to be an important innovation. The cell phone, the first iPhone was an important innovation, especially when you were able to add apps to it. So that was a big deal. And you just expand anything out of that.
Why do you think talking about apps, obviously apps changed the world. It was such a great innovation that came out and everybody started using apps. Obviously OpenAI tried to do a similar thing, create your own GPT, and to a large degree it hasn't taken off the same way. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think the apps that GTP can create are, like I said, they don't work. So that's a big
Yeah.
problem. That's
Yeah.
actually a huge problem. So building an app is fairly easy. It was okay if you knew what you were doing. It wasn't impossible, but all of a sudden, if you're trying to build an app with just like I said, vibe coding, it just doesn't work. It's almost impossible.
Yes. Yet. We'll see what happens. Okay, so how can small business owners here actually use AI without it feeling overwhelming or expensive? Or what advice can you give to people who are looking at venturing into AI?
Try it for a few simple things. Ask it to write an email for you. Ask it to, I don't know, plan a trip for you, that kind of thing. And don't be afraid of it, right? I think the you can't really mess anything up with most of these programs, with most of these systems. You can't fail. You just have to understand that the information that comes out of it might be dangerous. It might not work, right? So, for
Yeah.
example, I'm writing a book, and I have it do a lot of fact checking and proofreading for me. And the what the thing doesn't do is it'll change my quotes for me, like, completely, to make them completely different, which is no good. Like, and I have to explain, don't do it, and it goes back and does it. And the idea that I have to, like, I say the words explain, that's not really what I'm doing. I'm basically saying, look, you screwed up here, fix this, in a very non-programmatic way. You can think of AI as the ability to program without knowing code.
Yes.
And the system itself runs the code internally that we don't actually understand how it runs and what it's doing. And it's going to blap out junk quite often. And if you don't know what's the difference between junk and real information, then you're kind of stuck.
That's true. And that's where a lot of people fall down.
Hmm.
What tools do you use out of interest? What tools do you regularly use?
I'll use ChatGPT mostly. Claude, I use Claude a little bit, and then basically I write my own code tools to. So if I want a section to automatically, I don't know, paraphrase an article, I'll just call a certain part of ChatGPT with an API and just say, give me this information as when it rewrite this or edit this for me, and I'll have it pop back. And that's kind of how a lot of people are using AI right now, especially at, like, Apple and Facebook and all those guys.
What do you think about the latest ChatGPT models? I can't get to the new O3. Do you
Mm,
love it? I've lots of people I speak to love it.
I don't really have a. You can't really love these things. It's like saying, do you love the latest version of Python? No, you can't. It doesn't. It's way better than it used to be, obviously,
Yeah.
and it's going to get better, but it's still just a LLM. It's still a large language model, so it's definitely special.
Yeah, and number 5's coming out soon, isn't it? So
Yeah.
we'll see what comes out in that. How did you pivot into learning about AI? Did you do any formal training or obviously your background is coding, tech, etc. So it was just a natural progression.
No, I mean, I was actually giving classes, and I'm still giving
Interesting.
classes as needed. But I was giving classes to journalists and marketers and PR people on just how to use it, and I learned a lot from that. But most of the time, just picked it up. Like it's not that difficult. That's the trick. So one of the biggest things is like you see all these things on the internet that are like learn the best 50 prompts for whatever, and it's like
Yeah.
these are just junk. It doesn't really help anybody, and it's just like just people. You can't give it more power than necessary. I think that's the trick.
I have to say, I go on LinkedIn every day and I see AI influencers with hundreds of thousands of followers giving out random AI hacks and
Yep.
spam, and it's unbelievable that there's so many of them making so much money and monetizing it, and it's crazy. But
Hmm.
there you go. People want to learn quickly, don't they?
Well,
They want
remember
the quick.
they're not making money, right? So no, who's the only people who are making money are the people who are selling ads and are not
True,
selling classes. And most of
true.
those people aren't selling classes. They're just kind of like they might be monetizing a little bit on social media, but it's just not a thing.
Yes.
So
What do you have any good podcasts or books or magazines or anything you can recommend to people who might want to know more, who might want to self-teach? Or do you think it's more about just playing with the
no, you just
tools?
have to play. Don't read a book. Don't read a listen to a podcast. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to listen to somebody talk about uh, you're going to listen to somebody talk about how to use AI. It doesn't really. It's like listening to somebody talk about how to sculpt. Unless you're actually doing it, it's not going to work.
You don't
Hmm.
know the nuances until you actually play with it for yourself. That's very
Yep,
true.
exactly.
I have to say, going back to hallucinations, I remember uh, like talking about how far they've come when I first started using Claude, maybe, I don't know, 18 months ago. And I remember giving it a complex prompt and it said to me, brilliant, I can do all this, but you need to give me 24 hours. Go away and come back and I'll keep you up to date. And at the end of it, and I believed it could do it. And after 24 hours, I went back and I said, where's my report? And he said, I'm very sorry. I can't actually do any of that. And it's
Hmm.
crazy how far it's come. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it still tells you it can do things it can't. But if you think about that progression in 18 months,
Hmm. No,
it's
it's yeah, like
crazy.
it's yeah. The progression's huge. The changes in the technology are huge.
Yeah.
But are they so huge that that's difficult to understand? No, absolutely not. It
No.
only gets and there was agents and all this other junk that they were trying to sell. I mean, one interesting thing is you can basically like let let an AI loose on your computer and it can do things for hours and hours and hours, which is fine, but it really doesn't do anything. It really just kind of messes around and just kind of like runs code and doesn't run code and writes stuff and it's like letting a toddler use your computer. I mean, eventually it's going to write the word cat, but it doesn't really know that it's writing cat.
I must say, when OpenAI launched their agent last week and everybody went mad about it, my thing was people are going to use it to shop. That's it. They're going to buy
Yeah, yeah.
things with it. And then how safe is that? I mean, that's a huge discussion at the moment. Would you put your credit card details in?
Well, that's the question. Yes. So the would you want the AI that would you want the AI to buy stuff for you? And we don't know that what the AI is doing in the first place. And if we say we want you to buy we want it to buy stocks or something like that, it's going to make
What's it
up all
going to
kinds of weird stuff and start
exactly?
buying things and just ruin everything. So who knows?
It could be interesting. But yeah, it's a big risk at the moment. I believe when Sam Altman did his keynote, he even said, kind of on your head be it if you're going to put your details in. So yeah, I don't think I'll be trying that one yet. Although I haven't got access to Agent yet, it's still not available for me. So I'm looking forward to trying it. But I'm sure all I will do is shop with it as well, like 99% of people.
Hmm.
So what's the best AI startup that you've come across lately? Any innovative ones that you've heard about?
Not really. I mean, everybody is rebuilding old tools with AI, which is fine. It's like old systems. So they're basically saying you just take an old system and just add AI to it. And to a degree, that's kind of silly. It doesn't really work, but why not? It does. You can just say that it works.
It's funny because I was talking to somebody about this the other day and they were saying it's just a marketing play. It's the same things that we've been doing for the past
Hmm.
20, 30 years, but they've branded it in a sexier way.
Yep.
But it's
Exactly.
exactly the same processes.
Yep. Yeah. So it's exactly the same businesses. People have just kind of invented new languages for it, just new ways of describing it.
Okay, so what AI? I mean, we've touched on this slightly anyway. We've talked about ChatGPT, etc. But are there any other AI tools that you can't live without? What would do you think your life would change if they no longer existed anymore? Would you be quite comfortable going back to a pre-AI world?
Oh yeah, I would actually. I mean, it would make a lot of people less frightened. That's a big deal.
Yes.
I think it's kind of I think it's I think we can't go back to pre-AI world, and I think it's going to change things a lot. But it's important that we need to use it as and we need to show that we understand it. So
How much do you use it in your writing out of interest? It's obviously like there's very split views on it should be used, it shouldn't be used. People use it in different ways. What's your take on it?
I mean, if I use it as a copy editor and a fact checker. If I know that something
Yeah.
is, if I need somebody to help, I need some information. I can say, give me a paragraph on this topic. Then it'll give it to me.
Yes.
Now, to a degree, I don't like that because it doesn't let me sit there and learn that topic. But I don't know. It's kind of important that, or it's kind of interesting that I have that access. It also helps me do research for read books and do things. So I'm reading books constantly. But if I want to know where a section of the book is, I can just like ask it. Did what is what does this person think about X based on their writings?
Yeah.
And that's really helpful and that's really useful.
Yeah. It's making you a lot more efficient at the end of the day
Hmm.
to allow you to do more.
Yep.
So I agree. Okay, what's the most overused buzzword in AI right now?
I guess like agentic. I mean, AI itself is an overused buzzword. I mean, everybody talking about it is kind of ridiculous. The it changes the way we work. It changes the way we live in very interesting ways, but it's just not there yet, right? So we just have to figure it out. Just have to figure out how it's going to inject itself into our lives and how we're going to survive it. That's the
Yeah.
other question.
How long do you think it's gonna take to get more advanced to the point where it's actually really useful? Like, at the moment, they say it's like an intern. You can give it basic tasks, basic automated tasks. Do you think it'll ever get to the level of being surpassing human intelligence? Do you think that's real?
It can't surpass human intelligence. It can augment human intelligence. I think the best thing to think is that it's a bicycle it's a motorcycle for the mind. A Mac used to be a bicycle for a mind, but now this is a motorcycle for the mind.
I like
Helps
that.
helps the mind go faster, helps the mind work better, um, in a more interesting way. So you have this tool that can change the way we think. Like we use our phones constantly. You haven't had to remember a phone number or a note or I don't know, an email. You haven't had to go check um, you haven't had to check your mailbox, your physical mailbox in years because everything's coming in through your phone. And it's not like we're saying, "Oh, we're upset that the mail system went away and that the phone book went away." We don't really care, right?
Yeah.
So we're in the same kind of situation here. Eventually, we're going to be saying to ourselves, "We don't really care that we lost these things." The biggest question is, how do we recreate our processes around this new system to make things work better, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
And can we do it quickly enough as well?
Yep, exactly.
Which is another issue. Okay, what's one AI application that hasn't yet been built that you think should be?
I don't know. I think something with our health. I want something that sits on my head and basically tells me not to eat 2 pounds of chocolates right now. I want it to connect with. I think we need like our little brain friend. And that's actually kind of like the most important thing. We need to connect with the AI on a personal level. And
Yeah.
that's kind of scary because we don't know what that interface looks like. Is that interface plugged right into our head? Is it in our ear? How does it work?
That's interesting, and I was thinking about this the other day because already we're bombarded with messages, and we use our phones for tech, and they brought out smart. I don't get the smart glasses thing, like I
Uh-huh.
genuinely don't get it. And then they're bringing out all different wearables, but at what point is it going to be an implant? Is it going to be something under the skin that actually
Yeah,
tracks things
exactly.
real time that sends us messages? We're not that far off, I don't think. But who knows? But who knows? But the health one is a big one. I agree with that. I think we've come a long way in personalized health, but we've still got a very long way to go.
Uh-huh.
I was looking at all the AI wearables recently, like the Aura Ring and the Whoop and all the rest of them. But they seem to have stalled a few years ago. Like they give you all the data, but so what? There's like
Yeah,
a so
exactly.
what still.
I mean, it does none of that stuff tells you that you're doing anything, that it doesn't give you any actual advice, right? It just
No.
basically sits on your finger, sits on your wrist.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives you the data, but doesn't give you any actions as a result of it. And
Mhm.
the majority of people might count the steps or look at the calories, but actually don't do anything with it. So I think there's still a big gap in the market, like you say. Um, okay, so let's say an AI was trained on your entire writing career. What would it write about next that you wouldn't?
I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't be able to, right? So
That's true.
if I wanted to set it and forget it and say, just keep writing posts like me, I think it would eventually descend into trash.
Yeah.
So I really can't I can't allow it to to just be me yet. I mean, a lot of for example, my podcast, I write a lot of my show notes automatically, and it's really nice and it really works really well, which is great.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to use those tools uh, to use those tools to make my life easier. I prefer to talk to people, record the interview, and then have something else or somebody else write the show notes. So why do I have to do the thing that most people aren't going to read anyway?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the way to think about it, I guess.
Okay, and the final question for you today, John. What is the future of AI, do you think?
The future of AI is that almost everybody starts using it. Uh, Sometimes they won't even know that they're using it. It's very similar to the future of, I don't know, open source software, right? So we're kind of in this mode where everybody uses open source software. They don't know how it works. They don't know what it is, but it's right there on your phone. It's right there in front of you on your computer, and it becomes part of the background. It just
Yes.
exists. So.
Amazing. Thanks, John. I
Mhm.
really appreciate your time today. So just tell us a little bit about your book that's coming out next month so that everybody knows.
Well, it's called Influencers Boot Camp. I think it's on Amazon. Somehow it's on Amazon. I don't know what's going on with it. And then I also have a podcast called Keep Going, keepgoingpod.com if you wanted to listen to it there. That's pretty fun.
Thank you. Thanks very much,
Mhm.
John. I appreciate the time today. It's been really interesting.